Welcome to the programme as we take a look at the Swiss RE66 electric locomotives at work on the network between 2008 and 2019. Let's take a look at some of the locos appearing in this production. We will show as many of the locos as we have on film that only appear on the very front of a train. In part 1, we begin with a selection of locomotives from the series 11601 to 11620. 11601 is the first of the class, and one of 4 prototypes to be built. Commissioning began in 1969, when on the 15th of May this locomotive was released into traffic. The first 2 locos were constructed with a hinged body shell, which allowed for horizontal movement when the locomotive encountered changes in gradient. The remaining 2, number 603 and 604, had a solid built body, which was later adopted for the main construction run. The last of the early 4 is represented here by number 11604, which entered traffic in October 1969. Evaluation of the 4 prototypes lasted for 3 years, and many aspects of their performance was analysed before a firm order was made for a further 85 locos, with a fleet totalling 89 machines. Construction and delivery lasted from 1975 to 1980. Here number 11604 passes through Brugg. The first proper production model was number 11605, seen here at Darnican. Locos were delivered new in the corporate green livery, which would gradually be replaced by the more common red colour. Heading away from Niederbip, we see the loco once again, this time on a freight bound for Solothurn. The locos were an increasingly common sight on trains working away from the mountainous main lines to the south, which were the mainstay of the class since their first introduction. The class have always made an appearance on heavy oil traffic, especially on the flat plains in the north of the country, working from refineries situated in the Rhine and Aare valleys, as well as from the exchange yards at Basel. Here number 605, wearing its new European class designator number scheme, heads through Stein, with loaded tanks from Basel-Muttenz bound for Zurich. The date is the 12th of July 2018. The first machines were stationed at Erstfeld for use on the steeply graded Gotthard mountain route, where their 10,000 horsepower was put to good use. They were found working both passenger and freight trains over the main lines, from Lausanne east to Brieg, over the Simplon route and east to Zurich and down to Bellinzona. Here 620-007 glides through Lugano on the 10th of July 2018. 11609 tackles the climb around the spirals at Giornico. In the early days, most of the class worked the heavy passenger trains over this route, as well as freight trains up to 800 tons in weight. High traction was the most important factor, with speeds on this line rarely exceeding 125 km per hour. On the lowlands in the north, the locomotives could handle trains of 1600 tons on their own. Here 11610 hauls loaded cement tanks from Éclapon up the grade between Wangen and Niederbipp on the 6th of June 2014. The steeper sections of the Gotthard reduced the tonnages that the locos were allowed to haul, and mid-train helpers of the same class were often attached at Erstfeld. This was increasingly seen as a waste of a valuable resource, and eventually drawbar tonnages were increased, so the class were able to double head with the smaller but similar Class 420 electrics. One such example sees 611 paired with 11319 at Goschenen. Number 611 was involved in an accident in 1983 when it hit the back of a freight train at Osogna Crestiano station. The impact toppled the loco and it slid on its side through the station. Damage was severe and it spent 866 days in Bellanzona works before being released to traffic in the new red livery. Number 611 subsequently lost its all-over red livery after receiving a works overhaul in 2017, and is seen here in its new guise at Mühlen in the July of that year. With the introduction of new Trax electric locomotives on the Gotthard route in the mid-2000s, many locos began appearing on pickup freights in the lowlands, something that would have been unheard of in their early years. Here 620-012 is seen at Rothenburg, just north of Lucerne, on the 6th of June 2016. Each locomotive is named after towns or cantons in various parts of the country. Crests and shields adorn the body sides. Many of these were paid for by the individual towns or areas concerned. 11613 is seen at Goschenen. Our third look at number 613 comes from Langenthal, where the loco is about to make one of the 4 daily trips along the single track line to the paper mill at Willisau. Sister locomotive number 614 arrives at Willisau on the 4th of June 2014, on a similar working taking logs to the mill. Up until 1990, the full complement of 89 locomotives were still available. However, on the 16th of February 1990, all that was about to change. Number 11638 was involved in a serious accident when hauling a Eurocity passenger train at Sasson between Sion and Martigny, where it hit a crane on the track at high speed, resulting in 3 fatalities. The damage to the loco was so severe that it became the first of its class to be withdrawn from service. As number 614 passes the camera, note the additional maintenance door in the locomotive body behind the leading cab, where air conditioning equipment had been installed. Also of note is the white diamond on the rear cab door, which denotes the fact that the locomotive is fitted with ETCS cab signalling for use on the new Rotrist to Matt-Stetten line and also the new Lochberg base tunnel. following accident damage, the first RE66 to appear in the new corporate red livery was 11674, which was released from Bellinzona Works on the 26th of July 1984. In the same red livery, we see 11616 passing through Moulins on the 25th of July 2017. This was followed by 11617. This locomotive was the trial for a new ventilation system in 1984, which was then extended to the rest of the fleet. From 1994, with the introduction of the then new Class 460 locomotives, the remaining passenger sector RE66s were transferred to the cargo sector. Number 11620 was the second of the class to be withdrawn after an accident at Saint Maurice in October 2014, just 4 months after this film was taken at Deitingen, east of Solothurn. The loco was eventually broken up in February 2017, the third of the class to be scrapped after 11638 and 11673. We progress to Part 2, which looks at the class at work from number 621 through to 640. The date is the 21st of July 2017, and 620.021 passes through Wangen station, just to the east of Olten. By 2017, most of the class were receiving the new Class 620 numbering scheme on the lower cab fronts, replacing the cast plate positioned there since new. Number 622 was involved in an accident at Basel on February the 3rd, 2010, when it collided with a number of locos on a spur line. This included sister locos 11614 and 11641. All three locos were taken out of traffic, a major loss to the then high availability of the class. While 614 and 641 were put back into traffic very quickly, the same could not be said for number 622, which was sent to Bellinzona Works for assessment. It wasn't until September the 27th, 2013 that it finally re-emerged, a very close call away from the cutter's torch. Here it trundles through Rupersville back in June 2009. The bogies fitted to the machines are a shortened version of those designed for the RE44 locos of classes 420 and 421. The bow wheel arrangement was favoured over the Coco arrangement of the older AE66 class, as it reduced track wear. The axles are equipped with a guidance system that improves forces on curves and reduces wear on the wheel and rail, a system known as elastic cross-coupling. Number 624 is seen at Henchiken on the 17th of September 2015. Number 626 is, as far as we know, the only member of the class to sport the classic moustache worn by the earlier AE66 class of locos. However, number 11611 also had these adorned on the front to mark a special occasion on the 24th of March 1992, but eventually lost them over time. 11629 approaches Getnow on the line from Huttwil. The loco is on its way to Mensnow. Another view of number 629, this time on the wet 17th of September 2017. This is the view of Limmertal Yard north of Zurich, as 11632 heads south through the complex in February 2011. Henscheken is a good spot to see the class in action. Here we have 11632 and 11361 on empty hoppers. On the 15th of September 1993, the RE66 was fitted with an Austrian-style pantograph rocker and worked Eurocity passenger train EC189 from Zurich into Austria. Working over the Anton Pass route, the loco undertook trials between Linz and Selztal the next day, before returning to Switzerland on the 17th. By 2018, the locomotive had received its Class 620 numbers and rounds the curve at Effingen, on the route between Brugg and Basel, with a mixed freight for Muttens. (620.033) and 620.055 are seen just to the west of Burgdorf. Number 055 caused a sensation when, together with number 065, they were released from Bellinzona Works carrying a then new light turquoise green and white paint scheme. These colours did not catch on, and they were eventually repainted. Next, it is the turn of 11635 to pass the camera, seen on a cement service from Eclepin, passing Chavornay. A nocturnal view of the same machine passing through Alton. (11639) skirts the Zugersee, with a southbound intermodal on the 4th of June 2014. Number 11640 is seen near Bergdorf. This locomotive was the first of its type to be involved in a serious accident, when on the 23rd of July 1976 it derailed at speed on the curve at the northern exit of the Simplon tunnel, tipping over and sliding along the track bed when the tunnel finished. As a result, 6 lives were lost, including the driver. Such was the damage to the machine that a new body shell was taken from the then ongoing production line, and the good parts left from the wreckage were used to rebuild the loco. The machine remained in the works for no less than 674 days before being released back into traffic. If it were not for the continuing production of the class at the time, the locomotive would have certainly been scrapped. Here it passes Chavornay on the 3rd of June 2014. In part 3, we look at the locomotives from the series 11641 to 11660. This is what the locomotives were designed for, tackling the steep grades of the Gotthard Pass main line. On the 5th of February 2011, number 11641, paired with 11283 and with 421385 providing assistance on the rear, ascend the line near Vassen. The day before, we see the same loco arriving at Goschenen. The locos weigh in at 120 tons and have a tractive effort of 398 kilonewtons. They can develop 10,600 horsepower from their 6 traction motors, powering off the 15,000 volts overhead system. They were the most powerful locomotive in the world for a period of over 35 years. From around 2008, with a decline in traffic plus the withdrawal of the venerable AE66s, the class found themselves operating on routes they were never seen on before. Many of these were single-track rural lines. Here 11643 takes the single line from Merton on the route towards Payerne. Wearing its new cargo livery and numbers, the loco is seen heading east on the Basel to Brugge line on the 12th of July 2018. There were just a handful of the class left in traffic, still in their original green livery. These were subsequently repainted in the standard cargo colours when called in for works overhaul. The last remaining example in green livery was number 11663, which we will see later on in this programme. This has now been repainted into the new cargo livery. Sister loco number 11646 is seen here near Wangen, east of Solothurn. The same loco passes Husswil with a train for Mensnau. On the 3rd of June 2014, 11649 coasts down the grade on the approach to Frick, a region made famous for its dinosaur fossils. One train which was booked for 3 Class 620s in multiple was a mail train from near Bellinzona to the sorting centre at Harkingen. 2 of the locos would come off at Olten before continuing north to Basel. It seems that 30,000 horsepower, which was available to the driver, is a bit of an overkill for this train, but it does produce a great sight. Number 11649 leads number 14 and number 40 through Immensee. The initial order for these machines went from 11605 to 11649, when the contract was first placed on the 20th of February 1973. A follow-on order for a further 40 machines was initially blocked by the Swiss Railways Board in October 1975, and it wasn't until the April of the following year that the go-ahead was given. 11650 was the first of the second batch, and is seen here in the evening sun near Muri. The loco is seen again now, passing through Egerkirchen. A third order for 20 more locomotives was put forward to the SBB board by the Railways Operating Department, but this was turned down in favour of a further 27 of the smaller Class RE442 locomotives, which subsequently became Class 421. 11652 coasts downhill on its way towards Freek, on the main line towards Basel. A freezing cold 2nd of February 2011, and 11652 tackles the stiff climb out of Huttwil on its way to Wulhuizen. After this, number 11654 is captured passing through Rupperswil. (620.055) restarts its loaded train out of the station at Zwalden. The train was loaded at the stone quarry seen in the far distance to the left of the last wagon. The date is the 25th of July 2017. (11657) was the first of a batch of 30 machines, finishing with 11688, which were equipped from January 2000 with a remote control system called Locotrol, for use on the Gotthard main line when locos were added to heavy freight services. Here number 57 departs from Leisingen on the branch from Interlaken with a trip freight bound for Thun. The date is the 28th of June 2013. The power of the locos is well represented here, as number 57 is seen again at the head of this eastbound freight near Wangen. The gradient here increases between 1 and 2%. (620.060) was the provided power for this set of tanks, which it would haul to Muten's yard in Basel. The location is Pratteln, and the date is the 25th of July 2017. The final part in this programme looks at the series 661 to 689. We begin at Eglisau in the north of the country as number 620.062 heads north with a freight for the quarry at Huntwagen. With some superb scenery on offer, 620.062 and 11339 skirt Lake Thun on their way towards Spitz. The last remaining loco in the original green livery was number 11663. Here it passes through Egerkirchen with number 11629. The loco has since received a works overhaul, and has emerged in the new corporate cargo livery, which is a shame, as it would have been nice to keep at least one example in the retro livery. Here the loco heads towards Menznau, with a trip freight from Langenthal on the 4th of February 2011. On the same date, the loco worked a featherweight train from Langenthal to Bergdorf, seen here near Wieningen. Our final view of this machine is on the southern ramp of the Gotthard at Bodio. Here it heads south in the company of 11340 on the 19th of September 2015. The class are frequent performers on fuel trains between Basel and Zurich. Number 664 is seen once again just to the east of Mühlen on the 12th of July 2018. The second loco of the class to receive the short-lived light turquoise and white livery was number 665. Like number 655, it was later repainted in the new cargo colours and is seen here at Lenzburg on the 1st of February 2011. Six 62065 leads 11297, 42178 and 11331 near Othmarsingen on the 11th of June 2008. Another example of one of the few members of the class to stray from its home country is 11666, seen here near Wassen. In 1978 it was taken to Konstanz in Germany, where it made a guest appearance at a car show. This is Wassen again, as sister loco number 11667 coasts down the grade on the 7th of June 2016 in company with 11349. In the spring of 1991, number 11670 received push-pull equipment for testing on passenger services. This was not successful and was fairly short-lived, and was not extended to others in the class. Here it heads towards Thun. 11671 is seen with 11342 at Frutigen on the BLS route towards Brieg. The train will take the nearby Lutschberg Tunnel, and the date is the 21st of July 2017. (11672) was involved in a low-speed accident at Bellinzona on the 27th of February 1987. Damage was limited and the loco was released into traffic after 248 days under repair. It was the fifth member of the class to appear in the then new red livery. Here it is seen at Brugg on the 3rd of June 2016. Our next locomotive was also involved in an accident, but this time much more severe. Number 11673 was passing through Erstfeld station, not far from where this scene was taken, on the 12th of May 2015, when it struck locomotive number 11333. Damage was severe, with the side of the locomotive being ripped open, and the entire drive was damaged beyond repair, as was the suspension. It became the third of the class to be withdrawn and scrapped. In happier times, the loco heads over the Gotthard Pass main line on the 4th of June 2014. And so another locomotive involved in a serious crash befell number 11674 on the night of the 17th of July 1982, when it ran into a passenger train on a single-track section at Off-Marsingen station. 6 people unfortunately lost their lives. The loco was repaired at Bellinzona Works and was the first to appear in the new red colour scheme. In addition to the Off-Marsingen incident, number 674 also collided with sister locomotive number 630 at Rivera Beronico on the 23rd of July 1992. Fortunately, damage was minor and both locos quickly returned to traffic, number 630 being repainted into the new red colours to become only the second of the class to be so treated. On the 15th of May 1979, this loco, number 620075, journeyed to Hamburg, where it participated at the International Transport Exhibition, the first ever foreign trip for one of these locomotives. The Gotthard Pass route now sees very few of these locos passing over it, since the opening of the base tunnel in 2016. On the 4th of June that same year, number 11678, in the company of 11178 and 11243, as well as 11664, dropped down the grade through Amsteg-Sillingen. This is the same loco on the climb to Art Goldau, just outside of Steinen. A shot we couldn't leave out of this production sees number 11679 on the line between Spitz and Thun. The scenery here says it all. The date is the 21st of July 2017, and number 11272 is the RE44 seen in the consist. 11681 subsequently received the new cargo livery and is seen here 2 years later at Steinsackingen on the line between Brugg and Basel. In the early years, a problem arose with the tyres on the wheel sets of locomotives based at Erstfeld and Bellinzona. Excessive use on the tight curves over the Gotthard route caused wear on the wheel treads, which became pitted, as well as developing between 20 and 25 wear-induced corners. A wheel lathe was subsequently installed at Erstfeld, which reprofiled the wheels when they became too worn. This and additional lubrication solved the issue. This is number 11683. In typical alpine weather, number 11684 drifts through Amstegsillinen. (11685) is paired with green liveried 11330 at Hanschiken on the 17th of September 2015. It may be a little ironic that we are now mourning the loss of the last green liveried example of the class RE66, number 11663, but it won't be many more years before the red livery is also replaced by the revised cargo colours. Number 685 is seen again, this time in the company of number 618, as they pass through the yards at Chiasso. 620-087 is glimpsed through the wagons as it arrives at Göschenen in the company of 11330 on the 7th of June 2016. Our final scene in this programme comes from near Erstfeld, as 11689 drops down the slope of the Gotthard main line on the 5th of February 2011. The locomotive is the last in the fleet and was delivered new on the 19th of December 1980. As the train disappears from view, we hope that you have enjoyed our look at the Swiss RE66 locomotives in action. Thank you for watching.